Hi,
What is going on? How are you guys?
I'm good.
Nice. I know this is at least a couple of your guys' first call. Totally fine. Group calls, the way that it works is this is kind of like workshop time. If you guys have questions or you guys have personal things you want to do, it's not just for me to like sit here and lecture. I want you guys to meet each other. If you guys have good insight or advice, that's totally fine. The reason why I want you guys to RSVP, number one, do it 8 hours prior, just on my website. Register kind of ahead of time for what you guys want, so you guys can submit questions. Whoever submits a question first, your question will go to the top of the queue. We'll kind of review all of the questions that get submitted so that you guys can have access to certain things. Um, and yeah, RSVP early if you plan on attending. We can hop back between personal and business stuff. Every week we get different questions, so I'll kind of just go through the questions in the very beginning. I usually like to do introductions as well. I do record these. These do get posted on YouTube. If something gets brought up that's a personal thing and you don't want it to go on YouTube, these are the only sessions that I'll ever put on the internet. But a lot of times they're just really good advice that you guys are giving to one another. That's fine. Send me a message either during it, after it, and just say, hey, I don't want that one to be posted online. Can you please not do that? That's totally not a problem. I will respect that 100% of the time. But for now, let's go through quick intros. Let's do Alex, Amy, Valeria, then Leslie. If you guys just want to introduce yourself and say hello.
Hi, I'm Alex. I don't know what to say about myself, but I live in LA.
Nice. Amy, what you got from Alaska?
Hi, everybody. I'm Amy from Alaska. The founder and CEO of Access Medical Imaging.
Well,
Nice. Valeria, hello. You're in Atlanta now?
Hi, everyone. Yes, I am a Georgia Peach now. I was previously living in Miami, not from Miami. And a little bit about me, I am an artist. I do ceramics. I was working in philanthropy, but not anymore. I am unemployed and figuring it out. So nice to meet you all.
Nice. And then Leslie, what you got?
Hey everyone, I'm Leslie. I'm a fitness and healthy lifestyle coach.
Nice. You're here in North Carolina as well as I am. And I know we all talk, we have our one-on-ones and we're texting back and forth on certain things. But again, these group calls are for you guys to give advice to one another. Again, I will chime in if there is something that I feel like needs to be said, but I want you guys to help yourself. This is a safe space. You can be as vulnerable as you want. You can chat about whatever you want. But I'll hop into questions first. So looks like we had a bunch. And okay. So, top three strategies to effectively overcome addiction. Anyone want to take that one? Amy, you actually have a lot of insight on that. Not being an addict, but we've talked about
Oh,
that before.
yeah, I was going to say, thanks, Kim. I I think, gosh, I don't know. As far as overcoming stuff, I think getting to the root of the why is really the biggest thing that you can do. What are you running from is really what you need to get figured out, and what are you trying to suppress. And if you can figure out that, is step one. And then step two, the fallout from the amount of dopamine that it depends on what you're addicted to, right? So like alcohol is one thing, heroin's another, and then like whatever the drugs are, because your body gets dependent on whatever the substance is. And there's different medications that can help you come down off of that. And depending on how long you've been on stuff, there's a lot of different psychotherapies that can help you and medications that can help you come off of stuff. So just identify where you are in the addiction process, and don't be afraid to ask for help from a medical standpoint. That's really the biggest thing, because it is 2025. We've come a long, long ways in medicine. So just reach out for help and look for all the resources in all of the different ways, holistic and medical. Combine the two, and then you can really kick the thing in the ass. And just find your why, focus on your why, and focus on yourself, and know that you are worth, you yourself are worth all of the good things, and getting over that addiction. And then just rocket launch forward and get out of that addiction.
That's good. Anyone
So
else?
sum it up.
Yeah. Anyone else got some tips for addiction? Yeah, Amy, I think you hit the nail on the head. So like understanding what those addictions are, and then I think writing out, like I love pros and cons lists. I do them all the time. If I listed out the things that are holding me back, I would be able to write how they are negatively impacting my life, right? And I think that when you see those on paper and you go, ugh, right, that's enough of a spur of a movement to say, these just aren't things that I want to do. Whether it's letting someone who's toxic back into your life, or not putting enough effort into a business, or just allowing myself to scroll for too long instead of sleeping a decent amount. Like these are things that will hold me back and not allow me the success and the love and the things that I want in my future. So I think you nailed it. Second thing that I got, how to manage the grief of a long-term relationship and marriage ending. So I know a lot of clients will come to me for breakups or marriage things, wanting to rewire their brain. I love talking about those tactics, but from the female perspective, how do you guys manage grief at the end of a relationship? Who wants to take a stab?
I find that burning stuff is quite therapeutic.
I like it.
That's step one. I'll let somebody else go from here.
What you got?
Who are we
I mean-
talking to? Oh,
Anybody?
No, go
Don't be
ahead.
shy. Don't be shy. I wanna hear. I'm not a woman, so I manage grief in a very different way. But as a female, how do you manage grief?
I think personally, absolutely, during the first few days, I let myself just feel everything and talk about it with people that I have a safe space with. Unfortunately, sometimes that's not always family. It can be friends or vice versa. Maybe it's not a friend, but it's a family member, just whoever you find that you can speak with authentically. And then I just kind of start to do the things that I enjoy the most. And I know maybe you don't feel like doing that in the moment, but after you do the thing, it does make you feel better, like maybe like yoga or taking a walk or just giving some of that love back to yourself, because I feel that sometimes you think like you have all this love that you want to give out, but who do you give it out to? And so like, maybe to a pet or just to yourself. And actually I was reading this thing recently about love languages, and it was talking about like I never connected the dots, but for me, I think my love language is physical touch. And one of the things that you can give yourself like that type of love is like hot showers. I think it was like heating pads, and it was just talking about different things that like we do on a regular basis that could be put into those, I guess, like different love languages that we already do. So like if yours is quality time, maybe reading a book or just doing some activities like that that you might not notice that you're doing, you're giving yourself that love, but those activities, I think just filling up your day as best as you can and trying to get out of I guess like that rut. I don't
That's
know.
that's actually really good. There's a follow-up question to that, and I want you to answer that because I think that was great. How do you manage coping pain from a personal relationship? And how do you tell that you're just shoving it under the rug? What's the difference?
I think when it keeps coming up, um, like when it keeps bothering you, when you're not giving yourself the space to, like it's a thing that it when you go to sleep at night, right? And the rest of the world goes to bed as well. And that keeps coming back. I think that's when you're not paying attention to the thing that you have to confront. And oftentimes you're gonna have to confront it many times. And then
Yeah.
eventually it goes away. And I guess just maybe think about your last breakup and how you got over that and you were able to get into another relationship as well. So I always just think of that. I'm like, I've already been here. Like, I can't wait to see what I do for me because I always come through for me at the end of the day. Like, it's unless it's your first relationship, I'm not sure if that's what we're talking about here.
Yeah, I I do like those questions, and we'll hop into the other ones because we got a lot tonight. But for the most part, I know for guys love to shove their pain under the rug, and I did this for a long time too. But what you talk about when that pain comes back up and it like totally takes you out by the knees, this happens to guys all the time. At least it's happened to me. But in the past, when I would just avoid or distract, at some point, no matter where I went, there I was, right? No matter where you go, there you are. And it was the same thing that pain or that overwhelming tsunami that I put in the closet somewhere just came out and just took me out. And it would take me out for 2 or 3 days. And I don't know if it's the same way from the female side, but I think you guys are much better at mitigating that tsunami over time and riding it out, whereas guys will just run as fast as we can and as far as we can until it catches up to us. And then we'll get up and then we'll run away again. And the same thing happens. And it's like, okay, clearly I have to sit here and face this, right? I think about it as like just duck diving under a wave. Okay, wave's coming, it's crashing. Am I going to let this emotional wave just take me out, or am I going to like duck dive under it and deal with it, understanding that I'm going to come out on the other side just completely fine? So these are little things that I think we should pay attention to, because anytime you get triggered, that's just the universe or life itself telling you that, hey, there's something here that you need to work on. And I think that we should try to not avoid that thing, but instead face that thing, because facing it and grounding it will get it through you quicker. Does that make sense?
I think women have an easier time of facing it. Like after a breakup, we're always like, okay, I'm gonna work on myself and, do all these things. And it seems like guys just like jump right into something right after. They're not too quick to, take time to feel the feelings, grieve, and work through things. But that's just my experience with men around.
Yeah. And it seems like society has really like pushed that narrative that, oh, the best way to get over someone is just get under someone new. And it's like kind of made it really like okay to do that. And then we're wondering why people have anxiety and depression and are just going through these crises throughout life. Not to saying that it's never happened before, but I think it's more prevalent now that we're inundated with all of this stuff. No one's really educating other people on how to have healthy relationships and to set boundaries and to understand that relationships are just periods of growth for you, you know? So, anyone else have anything to add to that? Nope. Okay. Let me hop into the next couple questions. If you could pack a bag and run away, where would you go first?
You didn't say the last part.
Yeah. And why did you choose Alaska? I didn't want to give it away for who submitted that one, but what you guys got? If you could pack a bag and run away right now, where would you go?
I don't know. I can't decide because I've been thinking about this for a while. Like I literally just want to like give up everything and just go. But I have no idea where I would go.
I'm right here.
I've been to Alaska. I don't know if I'm ready to go there.
Come see me. I'll take you fishing.
Well, that'd be fun. Go salmon fishing.
Yeah, we'll get salmon.
That's a good one. Put it in the chat for where you would go and pack a bag. I like that one, but I think your second question is very good. So what does your inner child scream at you to do often, but you tell him or her to sit down and shut up? We're not doing that. What does your inner child scream at you? And this is good because we can talk about archetypes after, but what does your inner child constantly scream for? What do you think it means?
Mine is color. I used to color all the time when I was little. And I think about it as an adult, like I should get a coloring book or I should color. And like it's just something I never do.
I like that. You should do it.
Yeah.
You should do that. Anybody else? Inner child. Alex, what you got?
I think my inner child wants me to stay home and relax more instead of over socializing and overstimulating myself constantly to avoid thinking about things.
Okay. Like that. You should do that more often. Valeria, what you got?
Oh my God, so many things. Dance more and definitely buy flowers all the time, all the time. And just wear something different, like a different outfit. Maybe it looks goofy, but what if I like it?
All that matters. You should do that more often. Why don't you?
I don't know. I feel like, I'm in my 30s now. I don't want to look like I'm trying too hard. The last part, but I do dance and I do buy flowers often.
Okay, good. Danny, what about you? Your inner child. What does it scream to you and what does it say?
Yeah, I think it has to do with dance and music. I've been wanting to buy a keyboard. My grandmother used to play piano with me, so that's kind of a comforting memory, considering that keyboard thing.
I like that. What's stopping you?
Nothing. It's actually just an idea I had like 2 days ago, so I should just do it. I'm pretty impulsive, so it might end up at my doorstep soon.
Good. Good. Do it. There's a book called Sacred Contracts by Carolyn Myss, MYSS. I'll put it in the chat in a second. But in the book, she talks about different archetypes that we all have, and there's 4 primary ones that everyone has. It's the saboteur, the prostitute, the victim, and the inner child. Everyone has all 4 of those things, and they all play a prevalent role in your psyche. And she talks a lot about the inner child, about how it's your source of imagination, your source of creativity, your source of divine inner wisdom and guidance. And every single year that you've ever been alive, there's essentially that aged person inside of you, but primarily the child years are from like 1 to 9 or maybe 11. I forget what she says. But healing that inner child and working with that inner child on a daily basis and telling them that it's safe and telling them that you're okay and telling them that you love them and you giving them at the age that you are now, whatever it was that child is asking for or was asking for at that time. It can take some deep meditations or deep journaling practices to get into it, but that's how you heal your inner child wound. And when your inner child still to this day feels neglected or you're not getting certain things in your life now, that can make you take it out on your partner or other people out on your life. And it's so subconscious, so deeply embedded into you that it will affect your personal things in life and business and love, doesn't matter. And we're not really conscious of it until we start to understand that this is a real thing. Psychologists will talk about it all the time. I'm not a therapist or a psychologist, but I have definitely noticed for me and for other people that understanding what those things are that were neglected to us are the things that we often feel the most slighted for, the things that we feel craved to do. So if it's playing piano, if it's dressing up, if it's coloring, if it's sitting at home and relaxing, like you have to do those things. And if you can pretend like you're doing that with your inner child, right, that's how you heal that. That's how you heal that wound. And that's how you alleviate that need until it comes up again. But it's not something that you should neglect. You should never neglect your inner child, right? But if your inner child does get neglected, it will self-sabotage and it will throw a fit and a tantrum. And that's why you can feel like you're out of whack sometimes. But that's a great, great book if you want to dive more into archetypes specifically. Does that answer your question, Amy? Does that make sense?
Yes, you didn't answer the question though.
Yeah, but like telling him or her to sit down and shut up that we're not doing that today, I think is inherently the wrong long-term solution for that.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. If you deny your inner child for very long, like it's just like telling my 4-year-old no, like she's feral. She will get it done. So like you cannot tell your inner child no for very long. She or he will throw a tantrum. So, so Cam, what are you telling your inner child no about?
oof, I don't really tell my inner child no about, I hear him, but I think I constantly defer those needs, right? Like for me, I used to love playing with Legos. I used to
Mhm.
love Legos or being outside and playing kick the can or like everybody's it tag. Like I would
Yeah.
love to do that shit or play kickball or dodgeball. But I grew up in New Hampshire where it's like dark and cold 9 months out of the year. So when I would go crazy from just being inside as like a young kid or a teenager, I would go out into the woods and I would just break sticks for like hours against trees. And it was just so much fun. I just took out like whatever physical animosity I had as like a young, angsty teenager. And that was like, I used to just love doing that. Nobody knew where I was. I would just be out there for hours. No, this is like before cell phones and all this shit. And like, I don't know, building snow forts or like jumping in leaves. Like, I want to do more of that shit as an adult, you know? So I think we should listen to that. Going to a theme park, going on a roller coaster. Like I haven't done that in like a decade. Little shit like that. I think if you can identify it and you can say, you know what, I'm going to a theme park this year or this summer, and I'm gonna have a fucking blast.
Mhm.
That's the kind of shit that I think you have to pay attention to, and that is a great way to heal yourself is to pay attention to your inner child. But it takes practice. Anyone got anything else they want to add?
The only thing I will say is that something I've done is put a picture of me as a child on my lock screen on my phone, and that helps to like just connect more and keep it more present.
I love that. I love that. So good stuff. Let's hop into your third question, Amy. Oh, what is stopping you from doing number one or number two? Ah, well, that's good. I'll come to Alaska soon, but I like that. I think everyone should kind of notate that stuff. Your answer, if you want to put that in the chat, I think that would be really good. So like, what's stopping you from doing any one of those things? Either packing a bag and running away or listening to your inner child and doing those things. What's stopping you, right? So put that in the chat for there. Let me pull up some more questions. Some of these are blank. You guys got to write some questions in here. More blanks, more blanks. Oh, we had like 8 people RSVP. All right, here we go. So let's see. How to deal with a job offer getting rescinded. What you got? Anyone have advice on having a job offer get rescinded or something not working out?
That actually happened to me before. Yeah. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, tell us.
Okay. Yeah. I was excited about a marketing job in Florida, and I was living in Asheville, North Carolina, and I had just gotten my real estate license for North Carolina. And I went down to the interview in Florida, got the job. But then in casual conversation after getting the job, I told them about my real estate license, and they told me that they were kind of scared that I wouldn't be there long term in Florida. So I just kind of actually diverted and became a nanny. Yeah, a professional nanny. That's what I did instead.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. How did you deal with the fallout of those emotions?
The emotions, I think I was disappointed because I had like made friends and kind of built some with the girl who, you know, kind of pumped me up to get a job. So I felt betrayed, and I lost touch with her, which was kind of sad. I don't know really how I dealt with it.
Okay.
Emotionally. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's very tough. I too had a similar situation happen before where I was working for an agency out of Chicago and I worked for them for a whole year. And I had just gotten dumped. It was Christmas time. I was back home and I got a text from my ex saying she just moved out, took everything. She's going on a ski trip and she never wanted to talk again. And I was just like, okay. No shit. Within 30 seconds later, my boss called me for the company and he was like, hey man, how's Christmas? How's home? You heading back? I was like, yeah, cool, ready to do this. And he's like, actually, I just want to let you know, sorry to ruin your Christmas and New Year's, but we can't renew your contract for this year. Right. And essentially no severance, no nothing, just cut me out of it. I had 3 weeks left on my lease. I was living in Denver at the time. And I was like about to go to the airport. Right. And I just walked into my fucking parents' house, like feeling like a piece of shit because the 7-year relationship just officially ended, like again. And I just lost my job. And now I'm going back to Denver where I have like 3 weeks to live and obviously no job prospects for anything. And I had like not that many friends or even confidants back in Denver. Like I moved there with my ex. So that was like a huge emotional, like turbulent time for me. And I remember I had Sadie, my dog, we got on the plane, it was JetBlue, and I remember just staring at the seat like in front of me for 3.5 hours. I didn't even blink. Like I was just in total shell shock, being like, this is the lowest I think I've ever been, right? I feel like I've just lost seemingly everything with more to lose in the next couple of weeks. And I got back to my apartment and I had one fork, one plate, one knife, no utensils, no anything. I had like one hand towel, no shower curtain, no sheets. Like everything was just gone. Like it looked like I had been completely robbed. And I got back and I broke down again and like totally didn't sleep for like maybe 2 or 3 days and was just like, what the fuck am I gonna do? Gave myself those 2 or 3 days and then I got back on the horse and was like, okay, I'm going to apply to, as many jobs as I can to do this, to find something. I think I applied to like 200 jobs within, 2 to 3 weeks. My lease ended. I had to move into like my buddy's basement in Denver in the winter with like all my shit packed in suitcases, like sleeping on a cot, and was like, what the fuck am I going to do? Obviously, I had good family support and they were like, hey, you're going to figure it out. And I just remember I was like praying so much. I was like, please, I don't know what to do here. You got to help me out. And randomly, one of my connections on LinkedIn was like, hey, man, I see you're looking for a job. We actually need a global new business director here up in Portland, Oregon. He's like, I'll put in a good word for you. Send me your resume. Next day, I got an interview and they offered me the job on the spot, like 150K salary, whatever else. And they're like, you just got to move to Portland in the next like 2 weeks. And it was like, I just remember being so grateful because all of that anxiety, all of that loss, all of that emotional weight was like, okay, here I go again. All these other doors essentially were closing on me and I didn't know where I was going to do. And I just kind of surrendered to the process and was like, please take care of this for me. That door opened up, moved there, worked there for 3 months. COVID happened. They promised me I wouldn't get laid off because I was supposed to take my boss's job within the next 2 years. I ended up getting laid off, right? And then I was like, F this. I'm starting my own company, which is this now. And I just freelance the whole rest of the year, right? So like the short version of that story is that there's always a way out. There's always a way through. You just have to pay attention to like the next thing that's going to open up for you, because I've never seen in life that a situation or a door does not open up for a person, right? Yeah, a lot of other shit may close for you, but that one thing that does open up, even if it doesn't feel like it's the thing that you need to do, if that opens up, that's the direction that you need to go, because the next person that you're going to meet, the next job opportunity, whatever else, is going to be there. It's always there. You're just maybe not wanting to realize that that's a door you need to go through right now. Does that make sense?
I remember being so receptive to like any encouragement or any like signs that I would perceive. I was so just directionless, I remember. And I met a lot of nice, good people who had good advice for me at that time. So, yeah.
Yeah. There's always something that works out for you. I've seen it work out too many times, but does anyone else have a story like that they feel like sharing? Nice. Okay. So yeah, anytime you guys want to hop on these group calls, right? You don't have to stay for the whole hour. You can stay for whatever parts of it that you want. I think you guys submitted a lot of good questions. I'll import these questions eventually into the podcast as well, where I can give some more details and give you a shout out for submitting these. But for now, we'll do the last kind of 30 minutes as just a free for all if you have a situation that's either work focused, personal focus, or you just want general advice. But anything else you guys have, floor is yours. Come on, Leslie, what you got for me? See you moving over there.
Nothing, just working on stuff.
Yeah. How's the business?
I mean, it's going. I've made a lot of changes, so I'm just kind of moving forward in a new direction.
Okay. Good. You can text me if you're working on something or want me to review it. Just send me a text and I'll take a look at it. Alex, question for you. I know we talked about affirmations the other day. What was your
Yes.
takeaway with that, and how are those going?
I have forced myself to do the 30 minutes every day, and I think I need to make, because I used a lot of the ones that were on just the app. And I think I need to go through and make them a lot more personal, because when I'm listening to them, the ones that I created myself feel just like hit a lot harder. But it's going better. It feels like future me talking to me right now.
Yep. Yep.
So,
Are you doing the slides? Cam slides?
I teach the slides after almost everything else that I teach, but the number one thing that I work on with clients, right, whether it's a breakup or a personal issue or story, is essentially the rewriting of your story. And I've had a lot of those conversations the past 2 weeks, right? Understanding what you've taught yourself and why most people bring what they've been through, their failures, their traumas, their experience into the present moment. And that adds energetic weight to the present moment. And because that's the only way we've ever been taught to cope or to know, it makes our present moment very difficult to be in, which is why we think about the future. But then the problem with thinking about the future is I see most people trying to latch on to things that are outside of their control, trying to affect things that are truly outside of their control. And when I see people having too much anxiety about things in the future that are, not entirely 100% within their control, that's where they lose power, energy, and focus and just waver back and forth between what's already happened and what they're worried about happening in the future, which makes the present moment even more difficult for them, right? So that energetic weight in the present moment, energetic, W-E-I-G-H-T, energetic weight causes you to wait in the present moment for the next part of your life. And so, as you know, when I work with people, we talk about scripting where you are in the present moment, the story that you have been telling yourself, and then essentially doing a 180-degree flip. Okay, well, if I'm a character in a movie and I'm halfway through the movie And all of this stuff has happened so far in the movie. What is the framework for how I want the rest of the movie to look? Is it a hero's journey? What happens in that movie? Who do I meet? Where do I go? What are the things that I'm going to experience? How am I going to feel? And then the more specific of a message that we can craft for those future recorded memories, that's how I use that app Think Up. Is yeah, there's a lot of great stuff on there, but if you can write specific things about how you want to feel, how you want to experience, and you write that as a positive, forward-thinking, future recorded memory, and you're able to feel that, that feeling is the medium for bringing that thing to you. Okay. But we can't necessarily, we can start to build the framework. Retraining your brain takes weeks or a couple months, really. But as we start to patch up the cup and we're no longer bleeding energy or losing energy or just not having a full cup in general, we have to patch that cup up, fill the cup up, get the water boiling, and now we're at a position to really manifest those things. But continuously telling ourselves what we want that framework to be of the future is what will allow the support network to kind of be the rising tide that lifts all ships. Kind of complicated. I know I'm speaking mumbo jumbo here, but like that's the process. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and to tell everyone, I guess, a brief like thing of how you're helping me. I'm going through a potential divorce, and my life is just kind of all up in the air, and you're helping me refocus on myself and my goals, and it is helping. I'm having every day I'm feeling like more and more positive moments, and then like trying to catch myself. Catch myself in the negative moments. So it's still a process, but
Yeah.
it's definitely helping.
Yeah, it always will be. And I know the internet loves to be like, oh, you just need to journal and meditate and just go to the gym and just eat healthy. It's like, I I hate those platitudes. Like I was a very like hard charging kid and I hated when other people told me what to do, which is why I say that I'm not going to tell you guys what to do. I'm just going to give really good specific advice for stuff that I've seen work for other people and myself. But we're condensing the time frame needed for growth for you guys, right? Being able to set boundaries, being able to understand red flags and be like, no thanks, right? Being able to use our throat chakra and speak up for ourselves, and then identifying what it is that we want and understanding that things are either working out for us, never against us, understanding that there's a process of trust here that you guys have to implement, whatever that situation is, whether it's personal or whether it's in business. What I see a lot of times too is people don't recognize the friction in their lives. So if there's friction in a situation or with a person or in business, and you're just trying to apply more friction to try and get that to slip and go in your direction, it's costing you energy, right? Energy is neither created nor destroyed. It's always in a transient way through you, for you, around you. But when we apply our energy in a direction that is within our control, how we feel, what we put into our body, what we tell ourselves, we're able to more effectively get the outcome that we want. Your brain is not designed to hurt you. It's designed to keep you alive. And how it does so is by giving you anxiety and worries and recognizing things that can kill you and can hurt you. If it didn't work that way, you would take a left into traffic and not be here tomorrow. So your brain is trying to help you, but it does so by recognizing fear, by recognizing things that can hurt you. And it's not meant to trigger you. It's designed to keep you alive. 90% of all the thoughts that you have on a daily basis are entirely subconscious, which means that you're not thinking about it, right? As we blink, as we talk, as we move, you're doing all of these things subconsciously because you have the neural programming to do these things because you've done these things hundreds of thousands of times. So until we start to talk to ourselves in a way that is positive, empowering, and specific, our brains won't know how to act and incorporate the changes needed for our micro and our macro actions. This stuff takes time, but we can condense that time by, yes, using these affirmations. But I hear a lot of people, everyone's like, oh yeah, I do affirmations. I'm like, okay, what do you do? And they send me a random thing off Spotify or YouTube, and it's some British guy or some British lady, right, talking really nice affirmations that are just generalized and largely unspecific to you. Your brain likes your voice. Even if you don't like your voice, your brain likes your voice, and nobody likes somebody else's inner voice more than their own. Okay. So affirmations are things that you're going to talk, record, and speak to for yourself, by yourself, in a very specific manner. And over time, positive thoughts outweigh negative thoughts 20-1. 90% of the thoughts you have are subconscious. Another 90% of those are negative. But if we can start to turn the tides of having more positive thoughts outweighing those negative thoughts by catching ourselves in the day, we're going to turn the tide eventually to make our brains work for us instead of against us. Right. And that's a process. There's a lot of little things in between. I'm like jumping weeks and weeks and weeks here, but hopefully that's kind of the larger picture for all of you guys here. Right.
I have something to add. I'm sorry, is it Alex? I can't see your name on my screen. Is it Alex?
Yes, Alex.
Okay, sorry. I don't know your specific details of your divorce, like how long you guys have been married or like what's, the catalyst to it, but I was married for 20 years and got divorced. But the biggest thing, two things that helped me was one, which is like things that you're doing, so you're focusing on you and your growth. But the second biggest thing was I knew I did everything possible that I could to try to save the marriage. So by the time I said I wanted a divorce, I was ready to just easily walk away. And that's what made it easier for me. I think maybe because I was grieving some of it during the marriage, but I mean, I don't know exactly where you're at or if you can benefit from that, but that definitely makes it easier, knowing you've done everything. And like for me, I didn't have anything else to give. So I felt good about going, walking away.
Yeah, I definitely feel peace of mind knowing that I've tried everything, like multiple couples therapists and offering to go to church with him when I'm not particularly a religious person, and things that I thought would benefit the relationship and him specifically, but it's just very fresh, so still just trying to figure out my new day-to-day life, I guess.
Yeah, of course. It takes time.
Yeah. Understanding what you want to, like, again, this is coming from the male perspective, but in relationships, I think people go into them looking for their better halves, right? And I think this is intrinsically wrong. So if we think that we're looking for a better half, or if we think that we're looking for another person to get us together to 100%, I think that's intrinsically wrong. I think we should focus on becoming as much of a 100% person for ourselves first, as well as finding someone who is as much of a 100% person as they are, and together you guys equal 200%. Obviously, over time, relationships fail. The only relationship you have is with yourself for your entire life. And I have had to change my perspective on relationships now to the point where I see them as periods of growth, right? They are reflective periods of growth for me. They are mirrors for us to trigger us, to hurt us, to betray us. And if you've read Advanced Energy Anatomy, like I've told all of you guys about, that is the best book ever. And I think in there she talks about, from a spiritual contract, we need to be betrayed at least 12 times in our lives, which is a lot. Understanding that betrayal is part of the game and that these triggers or these events are designed to help us grow has helped me to reframe how I see relationships. Okay, they're periods of growth. Even if I'm with this person for the rest of my life, which is the opposite of what Disney and Hollywood has told us since we were kids, even if I'm with this person for the rest of my life, I'm still gonna die and go wherever I'm going alone, right? Either I'm gonna need a hoodie or I'm gonna need a lot of tank tops. I don't know, that's to be determined. But what I'll say is it is a necessary period to go through being hurt, and understanding that that's not necessarily what we want, but sometimes what we need in order to become a higher version of ourselves. That simple reframe can allow you to kind of help you look back on what's going on right now, Alex, and say, this is a period and a time for me to grow regardless of the outcome here, right? That's the goal, is your own growth. It's not necessarily to recoup a relationship or to get someone better or to distract yourself, but to feel your feelings for sure and understand that regardless, you are going to elevate to become an even better person than the person that you have been in the past. right? Does that help at all?
Yes, definitely. I focused way too much on someone else and a relationship and stopped focusing on myself. So it's definitely true.
Okay. Good, good. I like that. Let's see. Danny, Amy, Valeria, any questions, thoughts, comments, concerns?
Were you guys reading a list of questions?
Yeah, so when you guys RSVP, I might change it to the point where you guys have to submit questions in there. But when you register on the site, the group calls will always be free. It's just for you guys. Submit questions. If you RSVP early and you submit questions, they go to the top of the queue. But yeah, we'll always kind of do this. The group sessions are posed to have you guys meet each other, have you guys help each other, build connections, learn something new, not just get my perspective all the time on stuff. That's really kind of what it's here for. So hop on whenever you want. It's not a requirement for you to come. You don't have to even be here the whole time, but hop in, jump in, or watch the recordings because I'll post these on YouTube later, right? I'll never name who posted the questions unless you want to open up and sort of discuss that. But I will post these group sessions on YouTube. But if you talked about something personal and you don't want that to go on the internet, all you have to do is just text me, hey, don't post that. I kind of said something that I just don't want to be out there. Totally fine. And I just won't post it. But I do think it's helpful for some of the other members because I'll share that YouTube link after the video goes live. So, sound good? Okay. Any other specific questions that you guys have too? No, okay. Quiet group tonight. I want to say thanks for coming for the most part. If you guys need anything or have anything, you can text me anytime. I have a list. I've had this list for like 2 years. Okay. And it's like 18 different pages here. But this list is the list of all the things that I want to, that I have taught, that I want to teach, and that I want to make videos for. There's probably like 240 different things on here. This will be a master course. So I'm going to make videos or find even better videos on YouTube of some of these very specific things that inspired this. I'm going to put that and start building that master course. And I want to get it done before July 4th is my goal. But I'm going to probably add or make one videos that's not going to go on YouTube or not going to go on TikTok or anything. That will just be very specific tactics for like overall improvements for you guys to take while you're doing your coaching. So that group membership, I think Amy, Leslie, you guys are members of that. It's $1 a month because I don't care. I don't do this for money. I do it because it feels good. But that $1 a month thing gets you 50% off future sessions because I have a separate members portal for booking. And then that's where this master course will go. So there's free PDFs on there, everything else. I don't really advertise that like publicly, but for you guys, think about signing up for that once I kind of get enough videos on there about like building a better morning routine. I'll include different money meditations, like how to start an Etsy store, how to make different products for things, how to start a supplement brand. I have a whole nighttime routine course. There's a whole morning routine course with different tactics and different things that you can do that I would recommend, how to implement them. There's a whole page on relationships, kind of how to reframe that stuff, as well as, yeah, more relationship stuff continued, stuff about exercise and diet and nutrition, fasting, and then there's a whole lot of stuff about business. I talk a lot about supplements in the nutrition one. And then there's like a whole section on like challenges, like legit challenges that I would encourage you to do just to change your things. There's other ones on finance, vices and addictions, anatomy and physiology, as well as medical intuition and medical anatomy, for energy, chakras, meridians, pineal gland type stuff. And then a whole lot of reframe stuff, and then some masculinity stuff as well. I don't think I have a course on femininity because I'm still learning that stuff, and I don't know that I'll ever get to the bottom of that barrel enough to teach that specifically. So A lot of that stuff will be going out. I'll put out more stuff on Discord, but if you want to know more about that, just text me privately or ask me. But that's what I will be working on the next couple months for you guys. So you can either do that alongside your coaching or whatever.
Can I add something for you to add to your list?
Yeah.
So one thing a lot of soldiers have issues with when they leave the military is bridging the gap from military into civilian land, and their mental health really struggles, especially with the MOSs similar to yours into civilian land. And so we see that in healthcare a lot. And so that's kind of something I'm doing with my company is when you have the 68 whiskeys or the 68 papas that are coming from healthcare and they've been in these fobs and they see all this crazy stuff or whatever they're doing out on the front lines, we can give them kind of a safer home, if you will, in MRI to come out of fight or flight and to have a calmer work environment, and help their nervous system regulate in an environment that still gives them a good why. But a lot of these guys come back and they don't have a solid why. You know what I mean? And so there's a lot of some of the Green Berets do that, and there's, I can't remember what the company is called that does this, but bridging that gap for everybody that's coming back home into civilian land is a big problem with mental health with our soldiers. So I don't know if that's something that you would want to touch base on with everything you're doing.
Yeah, I just shared in the link in the chat, a video that I just pulled it up and I just watched the first 2 seconds and I already have the chills, but I've watched this video maybe 600 times. And when I watch it, I cry because this video was made and it made me join. Like I saw this video before I joined and it was everything that I'd felt up until that point, but I never articulated that way. And I still watch it and I tear up. But finding your why is incredibly important. I would encourage you to watch that because for me, that's a very specific personalized video on why I became a Green Beret. And I love being a Green Beret, but there are a lot of dudes that struggle with either not having a civilian experience or not knowing what to do after. So they just stay in and do all of these things. But you're right, having a plan to do that, creating a better system on incorporating that why and being able to balance our somewhat toxic work environment in a very stressful situation, where fear of death is always there. But yeah, I think that stuff's important. Luckily, I have businesses, I have dogs, I have a great support system outside of the military. I love the military. It's not my whole life. I don't agree with everything, but I need to do my job and still support my country and those around it. So it really helps having balance. So I think that's a good point. But go and watch that video, pull it up, and you'll see why. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys this evening, okay?
All right.
All right, I'll see you guys next week. Don't forget to RSVP ahead of time and text me if you got anything else, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Guys.
Bye.